Welcome to No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Zane. How your brothers doing today?
Good.
Cool, man.
Cool. And Zane, you look you look as if you're listening intently. You were listening to the open credits mad intently, like, I'm going to hear something new.
All the credits.
Yo, we got a good show lined up for everybody today. We got a number of topics that are pressing and on the forefront. We're going to talk about space tourism. We're going to talk about the officer who got happy with his hands and threw a right cross in Walmart, Dame Dash and his possible docu-series, hip hop and health. And we're going to talk about Jordan Brand and what their efforts have been to bring on more female athletes, sponsor more female athletes. So very excited. Lots to talk about. Let's just get right into it. Space tourism. We all laughed when Donald Trump said that he was creating a space force like the Air Force. But now space tourism is a thing. Z, start with you. Are you interested in space tourism, and is it a good thing?
It's like a yes and a no. The space tourism is like you got rich people. Like I always say, you got rich people. Rich people are people that have like a $5 million home.
Mm-hmm.
Wealthy people will have a $5 million painting in their home. To me, I believe space tourism is more for the wealthy. It's like an amusement park for the wealthy people and for the rich people.
It's a good analogy.
That has no like synergy with the average person that makes or allocate, for their overall income X amount of dollars per year. The only thing that I see that is good because you got to look at it too, fellas. Like when you look at the news and stuff like that, how we always say, it could lead you to the left or the right or be a gray area. A lot of stuff in the news be far left or far right. It's really no gray area, depending upon the topic of our discussion. But this one right here, I feel that Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson, yes, they have private funding, multi-billion-dollar funding, if not more, into this space exploration. But at the same time, what is it contributing to the world? Like, you got homelessness, you got world hunger, all these other different like variables that goes on into the world, but it really does no justice to what's going on to the now. I think the space exploration stuff will be good for like the next 20 to maybe 30 years and beyond. But you got three
Billionaires?
yeah, billionaires of course, but you got three like very profound minds when it comes to business etiquette, when it comes to philanthropy and stuff like that. But I just see overall with the space exploration, it's not going to really do nothing for us. Now, to what I'm thinking is that the reason why Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson is going out there, to me, I think 2 out of the 3 is going for rare minerals.
Oh, that's what they
yeah, because you gotta look at it. Like there's
they're going up, so they're going up there to collect minerals.
Right. There's news articles, and I think we talked about it prior of one of our other episodes, that you have these damn asteroids that's nothing but diamonds, nothing but gold, nothing but just natural resources that could be beneficial more for that, for the earth and what the current environment is. So when you look at it, I think that what the news is portraying, these 3 individuals, 2 out of the 3 are not going for what we think they are. Okay, so you got Elon Musk with SpaceX. Yeah, he has the rovers and stuff on Mars. You have Richard Branson. He does exploration for people to travel around the world, the wealthy or the rich, or in between wealthy and the rich. And then you have Richard Branson. He's doing the same thing that Jeff Bezos is doing, but I really don't see no real like relation behind what's that's going to do for the average man or average woman on Earth right now.
Well, yeah.
So
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so at the end of the day, all right, you got to look at it too, fellas. In order for you to have any type of spacecraft to go into the orbit outside, okay, you got the stratosphere. I'm not gonna say it in like what the levels are, but right now, okay, we on the biosphere. Next upon that, you got the stratosphere.
You
Then you
said you're
got the
not going to
thermosphere.
say it, but now you're going to say it?
I have to. Fuck it. You got the biosphere of where we on Earth. You got the stratosphere. You got the thermosphere, some other sphere, and then you have the ionosphere. The ionosphere is outside of the Earth's gravitational belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me that in order for people to benefit from this, by a person spending X amount of dollars to go out there into space and explore stuff like that, like you mean to tell me that that is helping out society,
It
humane
doesn't
society?
help you
No, it
humanity.
doesn't.
It's
It
not.
doesn't.
You know something? I think that I don't know if it's about exploration as much as it's about an actual expedition, because they're not going anywhere.
That's what I'm saying,
it's
bro.
a flex.
That's why I said I think it's another thing. I think it's more about more money because you got to figure too, for these guys that have these private investors that invest all this money into the exploration, them private investors have to get their money back too, right?
Well, I
So
mean, it costs a lot to go, Rob. You got to unmute your mic. It costs a lot to go. It costs between $300,000 to $400,000 for people to go, but it's
right,
almost it's a flex.
It's more than that.
It's a flex, and it's equivalent to when people go on a cruise to nowhere. And my understanding of it is that it's only a 90-minute trip.
So
right.
it's not even that.
If that.
It's actually it's an 11-minute flight going 60 miles in the air. What the fuck are you doing up there? You just looking over the earth?
Just
And
to
the
be able
average
to
person
see.
probably paying how much, roughly?
Roughly, they're auctioning right now. Jeff Bezos is auctioning a bidding for a seat. Now imagine this seat. It's only 6 seaters, so it's only going to sit 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
The rocket is about 60 feet long. It takes 11 minutes to get to the destination which they're touring to, which is about 60 miles in the air.
Mm.
You get up there, and then what? You come back down? Do you float? What are you doing?
Yeah, so it's an expedition just to go nowhere.
To Zane's point, if they are up there collecting precious stones, let me tell you something. There is a growing culture right now with stones, with amethyst stones, with aventurine stones, with lapis lazuli stones. A lot of these earth crusted materials coming from asteroids are starting to hit the earth. You know what I mean? And people are cashing in on it, man. And everyone think about Bitcoin. I'm telling you, man, start looking for these precious stones and start costing a lot of money.
I'm glad you said that, Rob. Real quick shot.
And these are billionaires. This only billionaires who want to go play in that part of the atmosphere where something's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but see, real quick shot, and that this is piggybacking off what Brother Rob said. When you look at the movie Avatar, what was the main gist of that whole movie?
What was they going out there for?
Exploration for natural resources from asteroids and from a quote unquote another planet. But no, it can't be from another planet because you have to have the proper, man. You know how much technology of billions upon trillions of dollars it would take to go into another planet and land besides Mars? And Mars don't really have no natural resources. We're talking about other stuff. We're talking about stuff that's more tangible as far as asteroids. Asteroids are closer to the Earth than other planets, correct? So with Avatar, they was going to get a little chunk of whatever that was it vibranium? Something like no, I think that was Black Panther. But anyway, that's another correlation too. But they was going to get these natural resources. They said in the movie Avatar it was from another planet, but I'm thinking it's from other asteroids and stuff that's in the asteroid belt to make things more tangible down here on Earth.
If that's the premise of why they're going up there, I can see them doing that because having the ability to have a precious stone that no one has that came from an asteroid. But my thing is, if you're up there, how are you extracting what it is that you're extracting?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, to me, it's a billionaire's joyride.
That's exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't think that. To me, I honestly think that it's just a billionaire joyride, like Rob said. I think it's a flex, and I think right now it's something that wealthy people are gonna want to do, just to be able to say, like, I safari, I did this, I did that, a bucket list thing. Like, I think that because you have these different people, these different moguls, when you start talking about Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, like, I definitely think that there's an industry that they're trying to tap into. And if you look right now, like Virgin got shares, Virgin Galactic, that's trading, already on the stock market around it. And right now, because it's scarce, the cost may be $300,000, $400,000. The same way where, I don't know if you guys follow, but they also have the jet. I think they suspended it at one time, but now they're bringing the jet back. That takes you from like New York to London, and like almost like a way expedited time. And the reason why they do these things and they charge so much is because it's scarce and it's an experience. So I don't know if they're trying to go up there and extract anything, because I honestly think that it's just a luxury trip for people to take into outer space, to be able to look back down at Earth and be like, yeah, this is cool.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Now, fellas, can we also mention the companies that these three individuals represent, so that
Amazon, Tesla, and Virgin.
Mm-hmm. So you got Elon Musk with SpaceX, you got Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin, and you got Richard Branson with Virgin Galactic.
Yeah, Rob.
Now, I was gonna say, the thought I had, if it is that you're up there to do something, and I'll take it from a Richard Branson standpoint. He's in the hotels, he's in the casinos. If you can create a floating station or a floating ship that can look over aerially, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think of an aerial view of having that, where you can go somewhere, let's say it take 11 minutes, 60 miles, and there was a station that can just float up there. And that's your destination to go hang out.
Yeah.
Or instead of going, that's a new way of travel. And I kind of get it, but I'm like, only these dudes got the money to do that. And how would you economically just start sending people up, and people to do it?
Well, that's what I said. Like, as it becomes far more common, the price will slowly but surely reduce. And I think the goal is eventually to have a destination, to say, okay, this is going to be a trip to the moon or whatever it is. I can see it happening.
Think of Lando Calrissian and the Cloud City.
Yeah, I wonder. Honestly, I haven't read too much
a lot of weed too,
on what NASA has to say about this, but I wonder what NASA's opinion of it is, because they're going to be some regulations. Like, I couldn't see NASA, and I'm not even talking about from a standpoint of regulations. I'm talking about from a standpoint of a pissing contest. Right. NASA worked many years on all this stuff to put rovers on Mars, and to revisit the moon and do all this stuff. And then you have these three wealthy moguls come in, get their private investors, sprinkle their cash around, and beat you to the punch. And before you know it, they on Mars building civilization or building floating hotels and shit like that. I just think that NASA, something is gonna slow them down to to keep this at the little expedition. What'd you say?
You know what the trick bag is to it? Just like how I was about to say earlier in this discussion for this particular segment, you have to have a certain amount of clearance to have any spacecraft go out there, whether it's Virgin Mobile Galactic, whether it's SpaceX, or whether it's Blue Origin. So being that NASA has been around since the 60s of what we know, but I'm thinking it's
probably been around
that. Yeah, way before that. So NASA's looking at it, okay, yeah, we're going to give you clearance, but if you fail, it's on you. So NASA's really using these dudes as guinea pigs. Like, you got smart intel, of course. They know these dudes are geniuses. They know these dudes have big budgets to pay people to think. So at the end of the day, Rob or Shannon, if you guys were NASA, the CEO or whoever, or even on the board of NASA, would you approve of NASA doing all this stuff, or would you rather approve of Blue Origin, SpaceX,
my thing
or
is
Virgin
NASA.
Galactic?
You keep your Rob, Zane. You keep mentioning these names. You on their payroll? You promoting them?
I'm not on that payroll, but no. What I'm saying is that if
I
this
get it.
stuff
I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you.
no, I understand. I understand. If this stuff fail, it won't really necessarily fall under NASA's
well, of course. I mean, that's what I
name.
said. Like,
It's gonna
yeah.
fall under the other three names.
But also that kind of dovetails on what we were saying. Like, what are they doing up there? What they're doing up there, NASA has the ability to do on any day. Only thing they doing is launching a rocket out of the up into outer space. NASA is doing. They're attempting to do stuff like you guys started with saying that could possibly help humanity. That could help us get intel on if there's life outside of the planet and stuff like that. These dudes, they're not doing it for that. They're doing it to say like, all right, we got an expedition that's going to take you to outer space. You could say you went to outer space, and then if it evolves into something else, then it evolves into something else. What I could eventually see in, because we're talking about people that also have wonderful tech experience. What I could eventually end up seeing happening is that one of them develop a rocket that has better technology than NASA, and NASA coming along and saying, hey, I want to partner with them for some sort of expedition that actually is involved with real exploration, not just going to the middle of nowhere. You know, like that you think about like oceanologists saying, hold on a second, think about like an oceanologist versus a dude on a sailboat. Like that's how I look at this. Like there are people who go out and they sail because they want to sail the ocean, and there are other people that's like marine biologists. Like I'm going out because I want to study what's actually in the ocean.
Right.
And that, you know, that may be an analogy that's off, but if you think about outer space and what they got going on, to me, that's what it basically is. NASA is going on space missions because they actually want to do stuff. They want to get rocks. They want to dig up soil. They want to look to see if life could exist here. You know, that's why NASA is doing stuff like, you know, we're going to launch this into orbit and it's going to take months to get to Mars. When Richard Branson is like, nah, I'm going to launch this into orbit and it's going to take me 11 minutes to get up there. And then you're going to look down, you're going to float around, you're going to get a selfie after it. So
it's the sensationalization of being aerial that high. That's a different view. And it might sound like a kid, but when you got someone like Richard Branson who's into tourism, that's a new way of traveling. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole breakthrough in traveling. People have been traveling north and south. No one's been traveling actually up.
It's a good, but hey, at the end of the day, they're gonna make some good money off of it. So
I tell you what, this is
only billionaires can do it right now. So.
This is my last little add-on, right? If people, you know, since the 1930s and maybe even before that, based upon articles that we read or whatever, or what we delve into, they talk about UFO, spacecraft, and all the other stuff, right? So if Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos is putting all this stuff into exploration, right? Does that say that there's a Star Wars, Star Trek type of thing going on? Because if people quote unquote believe in these UFOs and all this other stuff that we don't even know about, who's protecting them? Yeah, who's protecting them when their spacecraft go up and breaks that gravitational belt?
Well,
or is it just all fluff?
I'm stuck on that.
Right, but just real quick, the reason for exploration is to explore and to learn and to find out what goes on in space. They're up there outside of NASA. NASA's up there for a real reason. These people they're worried about the dollar, in my opinion. They'll find a way to get people interested in a new way of living. They want to break the mold of just what people do every day. And when I see Richard Branson, that's what I mean. This man got an island. This man got so much just entertainment and just buzzworthy things that just pique a person's interest. That now they're gonna have people flying up into space, so they can have an aerial view, get on their camera, because that's what they do. They'll probably text you from up there. Look, I see the Earth, and come right back.
I'm glad you said that, bro. I'm glad you said that. You know, because as they say, what's up above is the same as below. We got smart devices out here on Earth, right? So who's not to say that, which I already know, if you have Richard Branson owns Virgin Mobile, right, which is a telecommunications company. So that means that by him even going up there, if I was him, I would have, of course, smart devices incorporated into the technology that's going up through the different levels of the atmosphere.
The whole thing, everything.
So with the smart devices, them smart devices communicate with other smart devices that are up there throughout whether contracts that are non-disclosed or not. So with that, it's going to just push stuff even further because that's all a realm of communication throughout exploration.
I need somebody at Virgin Mobile to cut Zane a check.
No, I'm saying, shot.
Tesla, Amazon,
so you mean to tell me
podcast. Zane,
so you mean to tell me in 2021, even if they did it in 2020, even in 2019, as you know, with the military and all that other stuff, they have contracts with them, of course, to go out there and do what they got to do. So everything that comes out, whether it's the new iPhone or whatever that comes out this year, that stuff was already pre-planned about 4 years ago. Before even hit the actual market. So they have to have smart devices and a bigger echelon of ideas of what they're trying to do when they go out there in order for communication. So
wait 10 years.
Well, it doesn't say. I don't know the correlation between that space tourism and you plugging them, but I give it a thumbs up. Let's move on to the next topic.
Nice.
Not sure if you guys seen, but I'm sure you actually have seen because it's actually been viral and it's been talked about a lot on social media. Did you guys happen to catch the video of the officer that punched the woman in the throat?
I saw it.
What do you think, Rob?
Man, I mean, these officers, and I'm not beating up no officer. We gotta stop doing that because good, bad officer, it's just people training. Whether someone is stealing, you should know how to de-escalate a situation. Not every situation needs to be handled the way that it was handled. And especially with the world being so video savvy and you know what I mean? No one's helping. Everyone's video, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's video recording and ready to repost it. And I'm tired of seeing that. Yeah.
Well, did you guys see the antecedent that led to him actually throwing a punch?
Well, she was wild.
She attempted to bite him.
She bit him. She probably bit him.
Yeah.
But
they
off the hook. Now I caught maybe the tail end. I don't know why they had the other lady on the floor, other individual on the floor, but she wasn't going for it. To what I understand, they were from maybe some of them were Israelites, and I already know their stance for certain authority. They're not having it, and that could have triggered something off. And I know it's all triggers, but still, man, you cops are there still for public decency. I don't give a fuck. They're still there for that.
Protect and serve.
And they're still there to maintain order. You know what I mean? And if you got to put someone in order, punching somebody in the face ain't it. You're gonna have somebody get crazier, or you might get jumped. That's what that. Be very careful.
Yeah.
People gonna start jumping in because it's too long, man. Like you can't just talk to somebody.
Yeah. What do you say, Zane? What's your thoughts on it?
I think the overall approach. I know what I would have done if a male or female would have tried to bite me. I wouldn't have went to the thought of punching them in the throat or whatever. Just trying to no, seriously. I would have tried to just take them down. That would have been my first, not punching them, especially not a female. So you also got to look at it that particular female, just females in general, are very vulnerable to what goes on in today's society. We talked about it in our last episode, or second to our last episode. A lot of females have been raped, they have been kidnapped, they have been just beat on every day, all day, and stuff like that. So when you have a person that roughs you up in a certain manner, your defense mechanism goes up. Whether it's the bite, scratch, kicking the balls, whatever, just to try to de-escalate the whole situation. So I feel that yes, I mean the lady could have done a different measure to try to get away or do something to get that officer not to to respond in a certain manner, but it's also up to that author, the officer. A lot of times too, what I think is that with the police department, they need to have a male. They need to not saying that they don't, but they need to have a higher ratio of male and female partners that are in that same squad car.
Usually,
because that stuff can get very ugly.
Usually, when you're trying to detain a female or a female criminal, impersonator, whoever, a female officer would be on deck.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I guess my opinion of it is like I understand why he should be put on leave, and I think that the police officers have to be held to a higher standard than the person that's allegedly committing the crime. So the fact that he took it to that level, he was dead wrong, and I'm sure as a result of it, he'll probably there's going to be disciplinary action, but I doubt that he loses his job.
Nah.
The other thing is like
okay.
It's, even what you saying, Zane, like how you would have responded. Like I'm be honest with you, I don't know how I would respond if a person tries to bite me. Like it's easy for me to look at it and be like, yo, why is this dude throwing a punch? But if I'm in the moment and something is heated and that all that's going on, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. My first response probably wouldn't be to try to punch a woman in the face or a woman in the throat. And I think that the whole situation, just escalated. It's interesting. Like even the vernacular of the woman that was being detained, she could have found a different way to get away from it or whatever. Like I think we got to really think about why he was actually there attempting to lock her up. Like I think the temptation sometimes is just to go right to the police officers are garbage or whatever it is. Like this is an instance that I see where and I don't know if the woman guilty or not. One thing for certain, though, they're gonna get her on assault charges for biting the man. And maybe they need to get him on assault charges for punching her in the face.
Let me tell you something.
You know how that goes. Once two people presses assault charges against each other, what's the normal verdict of that?
Would you think it's gonna cancel each other out?
Cancel each other out.
Let me tell you something. These cops, a part of their training, they need hands training. You know how many little techniques that you can grab somebody's pinky and their finger, put their ass to their knees?
Yeah, pressure points, all that stuff.
Pressure points and all that, man. And slow somebody up. Just bend their hand back. Yo, sit your ass down.
Hey yo, fella, but we ain't gonna have no New York. All right, it wasn't in New York, but we ain't.
That was
gonna
have. That was upstate New York. That was upstate New York. That was
that's even crazier for this segue. They might start training New York police officers to do 52 blocks.
Well, here's the thing about training.
If they fight like that, somebody will live, man.
Here's the thing about training, Training is only as good as what the execution is. So you could train for everything. Look, they get all kind of training on how to de-escalate conflict and crisis, but they still go out and beat people upside the head with nightclubs. So how you call it? Like the training is one thing. The other thing is, I think, like just human decency and restraint. You having the ability as a human to say like this is a human and I'm not going to punch this lady out. But at the end of the day, also like we have to have some level of accountability as well. Like I don't know why she would even want to put her mouth on a stranger. Like you know what I'm saying? Where that dude been? He don't know where she been.
Now go ahead, Sha.
Yeah, I was gonna say, nobody. Why would you want to even put your mouth on that dude? Like I guess that it was so much conflict going on and temperatures were everybody was hyped up that it was in a heat of the moment thing. Like at the end of the day, it's going to be two people that's going to have a huge fallout as a result of it.
Plus, I think one of once this stuff hits the courts and all that, I think one of the things that the plaintiffs is going to say is like, okay, if that was your wife and you saw your wife being apprehended by a cop, how would you feel if a cop punched your wife in the throat or XYZ? You know what I'm saying?
That's not a legal defense, though. That's not a. That's not a legal defense. Like you can't go in the court and be like, "Yo, wow."
No. That's the blanket. I mean, as far as it's just not going to intricate detail. I'm talking about how I would think. Well, better yet, I would say the plaintiff would say if that was that person's daughter or wife or whatever, how would they feel if a cop was aggressive as that cop was, as far as going to the extreme of punching a lady? Now look. Now also,
He
who's
ain't
to
give a
say?
fuck, yo.
Okay, prime example, right? Luckily, but we don't even know. But luckily, well, I think we do know because it definitely would have been out in the media. What if that lady was pregnant?
He wouldn't have gave a fuck. He didn't care.
Right. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm saying, but see that's the sound bites behind that.
They,
So I'm just glad that
if it were pregnant, they would have reposted that video a million more times.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I'm glad that that particular female wasn't pregnant and had to go through that stuff or whatever, because you hit somebody in the throat, that's the major air passes right there in order for
It's going to
survival.
be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Like to even see if after all this is all said and done, if she files a civil case against that police department also and say, well, I was assaulted by a police officer. Like she may win a civil case, or they may contest it and be like, well, you're the one who actually incited the rioting
It was
or
definitely
the fighting.
excessive. It was definitely excessive force. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, honestly, I think that in his position, with him touching her anyway, the way that they were all worked up, I wouldn't even feel comfortable with touching her, But I guess I'm assuming, like my understanding of the story is that
he couldn't have laid
apprehending them for shoplifting.
I think that's how it's gonna go, though, fellas. Though I think one of the main things that the plaintiffs are gonna represent is, okay, how many, for that particular jurisdiction, how many female police officers do you have on your payroll and XYZ? Why wouldn't there have been a female police officer that would have intervened and try to de-escalate that situation instead of a male police officer? Stuff like that.
So here's the full, like, I guess, rundown. So a police officer from upstate New York is on leave after he punched a woman he was arresting right in the throat, knocking her flat on the ground, and it's all on video. The DeWitt Police Department released body cam footage, which they spliced together, showing what led up to the scuffle inside of an East Syracuse Walmart on July 4th, where the cops were dispatched on reports of women fighting inside and allegedly using pepper spray. When the cops in question showed up, who has since been ID'd as Rory Spain, he tried separating the quarreling parties and ended up restraining the lady he ultimately punched, Tyriana Edmonds, with handcuffs. As he attempted to lead her away, things escalated, and in the video, you see Edmonds apparently trying and succeeds in biting Officer Spain's arm, after which he cocks his arm back with his fist balled up and unloads on the front of her neck. The punch lands and Edmonds is tossed back, falling hard to the ground and absorbing the blow. You can hear people around who are filming react in outrage, and when they approach, Officer Spain tells them to get back. He and his fellow officers arrested her and others involved in a prior altercation, and they all face multiple charges over this. Edmond has also been hit with second-degree attempted assault of a police officer, presumably because of what appeared to be her going for his skin. As for Officer Spain, he's on paid administrative leave while the department investigates. So, this is going to be one where with the police union will probably step in, and I see this man keeping his job. But to me, what resonates most with this is how comfortable people are with using physical force. That's what stood out to me the most from this. Like, how come you got to be really comfortable to get to the point where like, that's the response in a street fight. Like, if you were street fighting somebody and they went
that's
to
the world, son. The world is reacting response. Ain't nobody thinking.
But that's definitely not, I wouldn't expect that from a professional man. Dame Dash is working on a family docu-series for his own streaming service. What do you guys think about it? So, the show is supposed to feature him and his fiance and his son. They're supposed to talk about his how he maintains his diabetes, her in vitro.
Right.
And it's supposed to be like a really good family-oriented show. Dame has had previous experience with these shows. I think he was involved as an executive producer growing up hip hop on We Network, I believe it's on also.
Right.
What do you guys think? You interested in it? Yeah or nay?
Go ahead, Rob.
I say yay. I think it's going to be informative. One of the key issues, I think, especially when it comes to women, is infertility. I think there are a lot of women more than we believe, man, who go through that painstaking of miscarriages and stillbirths and wanting to have children, and then they wait till they're late 30s and 40s and find that they can't have children. It becomes cumbersome, man. Just the wear on the mind on a woman who wants to have children. And also, Dame with diabetes is another great issue. You know what I'm saying? How to maintain that even in his lifestyle and all the stuff that he does. I think that's a gem in itself. Watching him juggle his schedule, you know what I'm saying, his work-life balance, and still have time and still really pay attention to his health. I'm gonna pay attention to it. He also said it's not gonna be no drama, no dysfunction.
Well, yo, Rob, you know
relationships and it's parenting and all that type of stuff.
It's bug that you say that because that's what popped in my head. I'm like, well, that's why this is going to be good for his streaming service, because in networks, when you turn on reality TV, what's the nature of reality TV? Like, good TV has drama, negativity, protagonist, antagonist, plot twist.
Watch how they use Baby Dusko too, because he's a part of the docuseries team. They got a whole curriculum catered just to him.
So my sense is it like, am I interested in it? Yes, I'm interested in it. I'm interested in it because I'm a fan of Dame Dash and I like his entrepreneurial spirit and what he brings to the table. Do I think that on a bigger scale, like on a major network, it would go? No, I don't. And the reason why I don't think it would go is because you think about like in contrast to what's on reality TV now. Like, one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy about reality TV that I'll tell anybody who listens to it is that I really hate to see the depiction of primarily women of color. Every show is basically women of color getting together, having drinks, gossiping about the other women, throwing drinks in each other's face, fighting, fighting over whatever it is. And it's just that's the nature of what the shows are built around. Like, even if you look, I don't know if you guys ever seen Married to Medicine. The premise of Married to Medicine is supposed to be,
I heard about it.
Supposed to be doctors. These are professional doctors living in Atlanta with their spouses, but there's conflict amongst them also that has become the crux of the show. So you look at what's the other one? Huntsville. I forget what the name of it is. I forget the name of it, but it's something about like they were supposed to be like real estate developers, and working on property and stuff. Huntsville, Alabama. I forget the name of it, but that show right there went from being about 3 black couples and how they're partnering together to work on land in Alabama, to cultivate land, to build homes and do all this real estate stuff. Now the crux of the show is the conflict that they have with each other and how they have with their spouses, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
drama in there, yo.
And that's why I said, like, for me, because I like him, I could get with watching it on a streaming platform. Do I think that to a larger audience would it sell? No, because even if you look at growing up hip hop has the potential to be something that's so rich when you look at the tradition of these people's parents. But the episodes that I caught, there was even conflict, drama, and beefing on there. Why? Because at the end of the day, it makes for good TV. It makes for good TV. So his streaming service, yes. How you call it, a bigger network? I don't know what the sustainability of it would be. What do you think, Zane?
I mean, we can't deny the impact that Dame Dash had onto the culture of hip hop, fashion, film, art. Like, this dude even has his own oil. He has his own his own what is it? Dusko.
Dusko wine. He got
Dusko wine and stuff like that. So what Dame Dash basically said is that Dame Dash wants to chase Disney. He wants to change the narrative of a lot of things that's going on in the black family structure. So I think Dame Dash is very intelligent. I mean, shout out to Jay-Z and also Kareem Biggs. Them dudes, all 3 of them dudes is equal on equilibrium, but their delivery is all different. I think that Dame Dash is very good as far as picking out the diamond in the rough. But right now, Dame Dash, being that he was doing a lot of that stuff on the exterior, now Dame Dash is looking more towards the interior. of the stuff that he wants to do, the stuff that he wants to display, because he was such a good scout of picking out raw talent. So now what he wants to do is build up his talents and attributes and his strong points and flourish it out into the world. Now, when he has like Dame Dash Studios, he has I mean, one of the illest films that I've seen in the past 10 years was Paid in Full. You know what I'm saying? So that already shows that he has a very creative mind. So now what I'm saying is that Dame Dash needs to control the narrative, and that's the reason why he puts out his own network and stuff like that. Because prime example, Shah, just like how you said,
that's it.
You can have these different networks, and they sign these people big money or whatever, or mediocre money, but they just want to get on. So when they sign that contract, they don't control the narrative. So when you have somebody throwing drinks in your face or calling people out of their name, whether male or female, they can't control that narrative. Dame Dash has his own company, so he controls the narrative of what's going to be projected out there for all the viewers. You know what I'm saying? Now, the only thing that I want to see, I don't want to see Dame Dash talk about Jay-Z. I don't want to see Dame Dash talk about stuff from back in the day. No, right. Which I don't think is going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen because Dame Dash is basically talking about his, the family structure.
Zay,
but I definitely.
Let me say, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to say this real quick because you bring up a really good point. So with all him controlling the narrative and putting out all this positivity and all this stuff, which do you think that he would get more views? Which in the television market, ultimately he's doing this as a business, so he wants to advertise this and he wants to make money off of it and for people to consume his content. Which gets more views? Him talking about his family and how he's working with diabetes and the in vitro stuff, or him talking about the turmoil and the breakup of him and Jay-Z?
I would think the diabetes stuff, because right now the Jay-Z stuff is way too oversaturated. You got so many different people that talks different stories about Jay-Z or whatever, but the closest people to him was the people that broke bread with Jay-Z prior, which is Dame Dash and other people. So,
and that's why that story is, how you call it, anytime he wants to. Think about the stuff that he's doing now. The stuff that he's doing now is he's in court over the reasonable doubt stuff, because he still owns a portion, I guess, of like reasonable doubt and the NFT stuff. Those are the ongoing things that are lucrative to him that he's attempting to monetize. He's attempting to monetize those things because he was a partial creator, rightfully so, of those things, but also because he knows the monetary value that Jay-Z brings to it. So it's the same way that, I don't know if you ever clicked on a video on YouTube and it had something in the title that had nothing to do with what was actually in the video, right? It's clickbait. So as much as we as grown men understand the value and appreciate the narrative of being something positive, of seeing positive portrayals of Black families, I don't know if the world is able to consume that and find as much value in it. Like, I think there are a handful of people that's high, and I'm, of course, I don't want to downplay, by a handful, when I mean that there are plenty of people that want to see it, but I don't really think that exceeds the amount of people that want to hear him sadly talk shit about his business partner.
No, right. So that goes to what I was saying earlier. So I think that Jay-Z Dame Dash is looking to turn a new leaf, because just like how Dame Dash said in that Breakfast Club interview, he's hustling for his last name, not his first name. So he's basically setting ground. He's going through all the sacrifice and all this other stuff for Ava, for Boogie, for his newborn, and for his other son, and for his other daughter or two daughters. I think he got like 6 kids in total. So Dame Dash is basically showing them the blueprint, quote unquote, the blueprint of how to get stuff done and to change the narrative. So the whole thing about it is that I just think that in order for like other quote unquote known celebrities that have a lot of financial backing and stuff like that, we want to see if they're going to be able to weather the partnership with Dame Dash or not, because Dame Dash been on the gauntlet for years, ever since he separated from Rockefeller. And as you see, we all know who's the one that gets more of the credits and praise. I mean, big shout out to Jay-Z. Jay-Z's a very astute businessman. Acumen is out of this world. But I think the other thing too, man, I think eventually before it's all said and done, I think Jay-Z and Dame Dash and Kareem Biggs gonna get together.
I
But
hope so.
I don't think Dame Dash is more interested in the music realm. He's not, because you gotta look at it, bro. Like, think about so many different music celebrities that broke up, whether it's in R&B or hip hop. Eventually, a certain percentage got back together once they were able to clear minds. I think the main thing behind Jay-Z and Dame Dash, they had too many side people into their business. So
You know,
but the world is so small. Dame Dash and Jay-Z is going to eventually meet up again. They're going to see each other somewhere, and I don't think they avoiding each other. I just think they both looking for the time where they can just, or even with Kareem Biggs, I think it's just a time where they could just them three get back and try to voice out their opinion and get things
well,
back to normal.
well, I think you know what makes that challenging. Like we talking about when you see people reconcile, they reconcile because, and you know, sad to say this, but a lot of people reconcile because they believe they can make more money together than apart, right? So the reconciliation, I think I think Dame Dash is such a brilliant business mind that Dame Dash is not, you know, he's not beating down the door for the reconciliation, but it'd be much more beneficial for him than it would for Jay-Z. I don't think Jay-Z needs it. I don't think Jay-Z wants it. And I don't think Jay-Z is probably like a fan of how Dame Dash conducted business in the past. But to kind of just bring it back around to the stuff with the docu-series stuff is like, I think, and that kind of leads into like our next topic also, is that I feel like what sometimes happens is like sometimes I look at some of this stuff and I'm like, yo, this shit is great, but is the world ready for it? Is the world really ready to embrace it? Is there an audience? Like, I think what would make a show like Dame's even more powerful is if he wasn't the only person that were putting out these narratives or these stories. Like if we had other stories, so it felt like, oh, this is what we're watching on TV now. Like, you know, we had our Cosby, we had our Bill Cosby discussion a couple of episodes ago, but the quality content that Bill Cosby put out was all positive narratives back in the days when he was showing us Black successful families together. Look, Black people could go away to college. Look, this, that, like those were the narratives that were painted for us that really spoke to about core family values and, you know, people of color excellence and stuff like that. And sadly, where we are as a generation with television also, and with sales in television and with sales in music and these things, isn't anything really positive, you know. And part of it is yes, it's driven by what the networks want to portray, and another part of it is driven by what people consume, you know. So if there's a demand where people are saying like, you know, we need more shows where people aren't throwing a drink in each other's face. We need more shows where it shows a demonstration of people as upright citizens. We need more shows that depict people of color, families that could be successful and they can have wealth. Like, think about how the narrative has shifted in television just over the years, right? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was another show about Black excellence. How many actual TV shows, scripted TV shows, are even produced right now? A scripted television show costs way more money to make than a reality show. A reality show is just, yo, set up some alcohol in a scenario, put them in a room, you know, and
the reality show is still scripted. The reality show is still scripted.
Well, it's scripted in a sense of where you create a scenario and you create drama, but it's nowhere near a script as if you sit down and look at how they wrote Seinfeld, how they wrote The Cosby Show, how they wrote Friends and all that. Like those are high production value shows. Reality TV is people saying like, yo, such and such, we had such and such on, and she said this, that, and the third. So when you meet up with her for lunch, we want you to have lunch with her, and we want you to confront her or talk to her about that. That's the
why?
Reality.
Why though, Shy Rob? But I'm sure you already know the main person that's cutting that check is not the same hue as the people that's portrayed on that show. So they want to see that. They want to see that. They want to see the nonsense.
Part of it is that, but let's not, even with us saying that, like there are people like look at Mona Scott. Mona Scott reflects she's a person of color, and her production company produces a lot of these shows. Carlos King is a person of color. His production company produces a lot of these shows. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is terrible, but I'm just saying like this seems to be the wave right now for what people are actually consuming. And I wonder how this fits in the space between, you know, like those shows. Because I mean, I don't know, have you guys ever looked at Marriage Boot Camp?
I don't watch none of that stuff.
Like, yo, Marriage Boot Camp, when I turned it on, I watched it. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a show about these celebrities that come into counseling in their relationship and stuff. Like Styles P was on it and everything. And then somehow
I saw one episode with Ghostface.
Conflict finds its way into that because it's television, and good television. You need conflict. You need a plot twist. You need stuff like that. So we may want to see this, but at the end of the day, you won't want to sit down and watch a feel-good story. We're gonna need him to go off the rails. We're gonna need him to argue at one of his designers. We're gonna need something to keep us.
I think you're gonna get that anyway, because that's Dame regardless. If you're gonna follow him,
very aggressive, very determined.
If you're gonna follow him in his day-to-day life, you're gonna follow him cursing somebody the hell out.
And that's honestly, that's what's gonna sell. And that's the thing we need to see.
He'd be changing the diaper and doing his damn insulin. Why you cursing somebody out on the phone? I think all that's gonna come with it. What I would like to see happen, and this kind of can segue into our next topic, is that when it comes to health, he has somebody like Scarface on there. You know what I'm saying? He has somebody like Freeway on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just talk about health being in the industry and that the demands of being on tour and all those different things. You know what I'm saying? Where you forget about your health. That's what's happening.
Yeah. So let's go right into that. Hip hop and health. Is there room for health messaging? And do we need it in hip hop? Do we need it? To me, it's an absolute yes. You know,
yes.
It's an absolute yes. But the other part is like what I was saying with the television show stuff. Like, are we ready to consume it? Like, I just go back to like growing up and seeing how hip hop, the evolution of hip hop, like how it went from people. You know, we were singing about how we were black and proud. Remember, we had stuff about we black and proud. Everybody had the medallions on. It was about having fun.
That's because of what you just said, television.
Yeah, all of this stuff. And now, you know, how you call it now, none of the messaging or none of the stuff that sells is reflects any of that. So I feel like there were people like, for me as an influence growing up, a dude like Karis One was a dude who he put the medicine in the music. You know, like you was gonna get joints with him where it was gonna be some bars, it may be something related to the street. But there was gonna be some knowledge, some gems in there. And I feel like I don't know if it's this generation or if it's what just was being broadcast on the radio or whatever it is. It's just like I don't feel like we have that narrative. To me, certainly is not being pushed. And because that narrative is not being pushed, I don't know where the market is for people willingness or desire to hear it outside of people that are actually conscious of these things.
I'm glad you said that though, Sha, because when you mentioned hip hop, okay, you got hip hop and you got rap. Hip hop is not going to talk about the same content that rap talks about. Hip hop is more of like purist, like revolutionary stuff, thought provoking stuff. Rap is the total opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, hip hop started in what, 1974? You got Kool Herc, you got Melly Mel, you got Grandmaster Cash, you got
Richard Branson and Virgin Atlantic.
Nah. And at the end of the day, like you gotta look at the narrative too. You gotta look at the contrast. When they had Self-Destruction and Straight Outta Compton, that came out less than if
same
not the same year. Yeah. So sure. You gotta look at that too. Okay, you got Self-Destruction that talks about the crack epidemic and all other stuff that people went through. Then you got Straight Outta Compton, gangster rap.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know about the whole situation that, you know, there was a certain individual, I don't think is living anymore, that talked about that private board meeting that they had to where these big wigs with a whole rack of money was trying to push the narrative in order for people to get accustomed to gangster rap, because gangster rap is more of something that it's like it just catches you. It sounds good. People can relate to it and all that other stuff, but at the same time, you had it to where like hip hop was more of a feel good music. So when you're in a club, you're gonna dance more to hip hop music or gangster music, and that's the reason why they incorporated R&B collaborations with rap and with hip hop. So the whole narrative, the R&B collaborative with hip hop sound totally different from the R&B collaborative with rap. You know what I'm saying? So you on a whole different frequency. And at the same time, you got people saying the B word, the N word, and all this other stuff, shouting it in the clubs. So a lot of times too, when you shout that in the clubs and you downgrade of what you know your natural royalty is of kings and queens, what normally happens when you see on the news? You see this stuff out playing the clubs, you see it out playing the streets of the clubs that night because you vibrating on a lower frequency. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just think that hip hop, I mean, even though it's born in 1974, yeah, okay, we still got a long way. It's one of the youngest genres, if not the youngest genre besides EDM. But at the end of the day, man, we got to just do better as far as the stuff that we portray out there to the younger people. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not getting any younger, man.
I agree with that, and I agree with that for television also. That I think that there needs to be a better depiction of people on TV and on radio. But I'm also wondering, and this is where I'm pushing back and saying, like, is there right now a market for it?
For what?
I don't think there's a market for it. I think there is a market for hip hop and health because you're watching some of your most profound artists be stricken by health issues. You know,
our artists,
our artists. I mean, Rick Ross dealing with a seizures, Prodigy dealing with sickle cell. I just mentioned Freeway and Scarface getting kidney transplants. Let me tell you something, man. When you're an artist and you on tour, you ain't thinking about no doctor checkup. You eating all the worst shit on the street. I mean, your tour dates is rammed. You're going from city to city. You're getting no rest. You know what I'm saying?
You know why?
And because you're on demand. You're on demand. You're trying to hit these stories, or you chasing bags and getting paid.
That's exactly what it is.
And your priorities are out of whack because you might have a car note or a house or a mansion, whatever it is, man. Your lifestyle. There's no work-life balance.
I'm glad you said that, bro.
Further though, Rob, because
hip hop is nothing like that. But you look at somebody like Nick Cannon dealing with lupus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Take that a step further. You talking about the artists, right? The artists that. What about the labels? The labels also. The labels going to tell them like, yo, it's great that you rapping about your lupus, but can we make money off of you?
You know what's crazy? Freeway said his people told him not to mention it because people are gonna think you weak.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. That's why I said, like, I think our artists and our generation, because
you can't tell a person going through that. Nah, I need to let somebody know about that.
Of course, yeah, but I think that we're at a place. We're at a place in our life where the music that we listen to, we may want to have a message. Like, we okay with, like what I said with KRS-One, like, yo, he put the medicine in the music. Like, we've already been sort of primed for that. I don't know how we get to a point where we actually prime youth unless we get a movement of where we have radio program directors actually supporting it, labels supporting it.
Youth invincible. They don't anything about going to the doctor, and they don't anything about their kidneys. They ain't think about diabetes.
At the end of all of this, though, at the end of all of this, like, for whether it be the rapper, the label, the manager, whoever it is or whatever, all these people want to profit off of it. So people are making it because they're making it because it's art, but they also want it to be profitable. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's probably the hard part that puts people in a position to say, like, do I want to make records like this because is it going to be profitable? That's unfair. But at the end of the day, there are some artists that they're message driven, that they're gonna be like, well, it ain't about the actual profit. I can live without the profit. I'm putting it out independently, or I have a core audience or following from that I know that want to hear this. And to speak a little bit to what you were saying, Zane, about about you had self-destruction out at one point, and then you had NWA running or whatever, like comparable around the same time, and that sort of ushered in a shift in the trajectory of where the music went. And I think that we've been through a couple of shifts in our era, right? We went from empowerment to fun to money, drugs, gangster rap.
Now is health.
but no, but now it is, honestly, it ain't health. You know what it is? That shit is lean and drugs. Dripping drugs is where it's at now. So maybe the next step afterwards is health. Now here's something that how you call it, and I don't for purposes of not getting flagged, I don't want to get into the intricacies of it. But even you look at like these dudes, which I don't know why they would do it. How you call it? Juvenile, Manny Fresh making a vax that thing up.
Record was good.
But here's even the thing. What I'm like, nobody takes that serious because people split on whether they should vaccinate or not. But two, don't nobody want to hear that shit or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like we how you call it? Like, we have to think about sometimes in the context of this stuff. Like like do you want to hear? Do I want to hear? Yes. Do Rob you want to hear? Yes. Do Zane you want to hear? Yes.
No.
But do how you call it? Do other people want to hear? I'm talking about like health records where people interject and insert health messages and different messages. Even beyond health, I want to hear more about Black empowerment and stuff like that. And it seems like we starting to get some of that stuff entered in there. Like Jay-Z, I've had people tell me that Jay-Z's worst album was 444. And that 444 album was a whole bunch of medicine about financial literacy that frankly people were not ready to receive yet. So my position is, how do we get people ready to actually receive this stuff?
What? Hip hop to me is like the most unloyal genre of music that there is.
Of course.
You gotta look at it too, but see, you gotta look at the low bottom of what we just talked about, of how you said Jay-Z fans, whether die hard or whether mediocre or whether low grade, they said the 444 album was some trash based upon the content. But then you gotta look at, now that's the low grade. The high grade is how we talked about earlier with the people that own these particular companies, these record companies, right?
I was about to say, you better not mention Richard Branson.
Nah. So the thing about it is that when you have these big time CEOs, founders of these different corporations, prime example, just like how Brother Rob said earlier, you have like Styles P, you got the Juice Bars, you got other different artists that have these different like businesses going on. When you look on their page, the one that's pushing that is that particular artist. You don't go to Def Jam or Atlantic Records or Arista or whatever and see that they push that same narrative. They're not going to push that same narrative because it's all microwavable. It's all microwavable, bro.
Because they want to sell records. That's why.
Right, because they want to sell records. So that goes back to what I said. Hip hop is, or I'm sorry, not hip hop. Rap is the most disloyal genre there is because everybody's is just replaceable. Like say if God forbid we have Nas go, we have Diddy go, we have Jay-Z go, we have Snoop go, it's going to be other people that's going to take them seats. You know what I'm saying?
People have already taken those seats.
Huh?
The people have already taken those seats.
Right, but what I'm saying is that they still there. It's a reason why they still there. It's a reason why Diddy, Nas, Jay-Z, Snoop, and several others, Master P and Jay Prince, are still there. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why Irv Gotti, Jay Prince, Suge Knight, and Irv and the other people try to put together a distribution company in order to where they didn't have to depend on people that's not the same hue as them in order to distribute their music. But at the same time, that same music was still detrimental to a lot of the people that didn't know how to decipher what's entertainment and what's not. So at the end of the day, man, it's like, you know, it's like a catch-22. The best thing that an artist can do for people that's listening to this, start your label and then partner with the company or the big umbrella company that want to sign you, and you can help kind of control your music. Because if not, they're gonna put out all this other different stuff, and then you gotta look at how many artists that died, talented artists that died from drugs, whether it's hip hop, R&B, rock and roll, jazz, all of that stuff. And at the end of the day, the ones that benefited was the people that owned the companies.
That's still the prevalent message.
Because they had the publishing.
Today, though, the prevalent message, right, that what they pushing as the narrative is still about the drugs and stuff like that. Like all the people, all the people that you name, like all those artists, whether they're black or whatever it is, they all contributed to the demise of hip hop, because all of those people were taking them checks and making them same records, hoping to get a hit record from it. So,
but if you notice, I didn't just say hip hop. I'm talking about other genres too. So collectively, that's all still music. And at the end of the day, the ones that capitalize off of that is the ones that own these companies, because the same ones that own these R&B groups, as far as publishing, hip hop, R&B, rock and roll, they still own the company, whether it's Sony, whether it's Republic Music, whether it's whatever.
Don't let the artists off the hook, because the artists wouldn't be doing it if they weren't capitalizing, right?
Well, a lot of the artists do it because they feel that they have no other way out besides to sign that contract, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So you always see shit every week. We see an artist complain about their contract. Nobody put a gun to their head and said for them to sign that contract. They did it because of whatever this. So
people that's independent. So people that's independent, we don't think that they rapping about getting high, shooting people, and doing lean and all that stuff.
Of course, but see, no, hear me out.
Not the only. That's one of the mistakes that we make, is like we have to. If we gonna hold people accountable, let's hold all parties accountable, because no artist is gonna partner with a label and say, I'm gonna make music that I don't like, and I'm not going to profit from it. So it's they just not profiting as much as the label.
You got to look at it. What's the percentage of artists that come out independent and do their own thing with not the goal of signing a big $10 million, $5 million contract, opposed to the ones that still stay current in independency as far as currency, like the rapper Currency? He's still independent from what I know. Like imagine if Drake would have stayed independent. The whole narrative of the music would have been different, because he wouldn't have had the same producers, he wouldn't have had the same machine behind him to push some records. Whether there's because a lot of people don't know, there's records that are shipped, records sold, then records that are not sold that comes back to the actual company that puts them into the red. So imagine if Drake would have just went independent but didn't have that machine. He wouldn't have put out the same music.
I think he would have, because I heard his early work and I kind of feel like he was trending in this direction. And when I think about independent, to me, the biggest independent person of all time, at least for me growing up, was probably Master P. Laid the blueprint on how to do it independently. And Master P's songs as an independent artist all glorify what? The hood. He was all about the hood. So I'm saying, like, I'm not saying that the label don't have ulterior motives. I'm just saying that it's a marriage, I think, that goes hand in hand. You know, if you want to get in bed with somebody, especially over a check, it has to be mutually beneficial. Like, nobody is going to say, yo, I really want to rap about, you know, shit as it relates to health, but the label is forcing me to make these records. So
that's why
I'm make these records. And I'm not going to.
One of the most important songs that came out, or albums that came out, was when J. Cole did that KOD album, and he had that song talking about substance. You know, rappers abusing substance and all that. I forgot the name.
They're how you call it. You know what's bug? One of the critiques that came that I heard a lot of people say about J. Cole's last album is that they was like that there was too much on there about him talking about having threesomes and all this other stuff, and it was like, yo, where's this coming from with J. Cole? Now we could say, yo, the label forced.
No, that wasn't the last album. I'm talking about the KOD album.
No,
I'm talking about the one that came out.
This is where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
this is where I'm going with this. So, yo, what people were saying, because I think J. Cole, and when you think about a Kendrick Lamar, dudes like that are dudes who actually they make music that have some substance to it. There's some message in there, but his J. Cole's last album, people were critical of him. Was like, yo, why is J. Cole all of a sudden rapping about having threesomes and wristwatches? And
it was on his freak shit.
All this other, and the crazy shit about it is, I think the dude was like recently married with 2 kids or something or whatever. So people are like, where this coming from? Only thing that I'm trying to say with this is that, you know, how you call it, like, I think artists,
you're not going to be able to monetize health.
Yeah, artists know that, you know. So there are some artists that we listen to, like Styles P, gonna give you some bars about juices for life and pharmacy for life and stuff like that. But the crux to his album, we gotta accept, is not.
But you know what? But I still he's pushing his pharmacy for life product because you know. But I can see not too many people are taking to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
not taking black seed oil and sea moss because they like a Sprite and the Pepsi.
but that's because of what? That's because of what? They're not controlling the narrative.
You're not going to be able to monetize health at all.
Yo, there's think about, like, in the context of just needs and wants. There's needs and wants, right? Primarily as people, most people consume what? They don't necessarily get the needs. More people are focused on wants. There's plenty of stuff. Yeah,
what you like.
There's plenty of stuff that we don't actually have to have, but we want it. Like, yo, there's some places where you don't have to have a car, but people still go get a car. You don't have to have 50 million pairs of shoes, but people get 50 million pairs of shoes. You don't have to have all kinds of, you know, like, so again, it doesn't go back to, and I'm just to bring it back to this or whatever. Like, do we need it? Yeah, we need it. Do people necessarily want it? And that's what I think business in the industry of selling stuff is about. Like, you could come up with a product and be like, yo, how many times you guys ever watch Shark Tank and people pitch this thing and they be like, yo, you absolutely need this. This does this, do that, this is that, or whatever. You need this. And you look at the shit and you be like, maybe I do need this or whatever. You know, maybe I do need this or whatever, you know, but then at the end of the day, it comes down to, like, I don't really need it. It's something I want, you know, I want it, but I don't really need it. And that's what I think is, like, in the context of this stuff, like, do we need it? Hell yeah, we need it or whatever. But right now, I think it's probably like, yo, right now we may, like, at our age, we like, yo, we see the value in it. But overall, I don't know if people necessarily see the value in it and they see how, like you were saying, Rob, it'll get monetized.
They need to because they're gonna need it 10 years after they do all the fuck shit they do.
The irony of it is that if people actually tuned in and was more receptive to it, it would increase their life expectancy.
There you go.
So speaking of what needs, wants, and money, you know, Jordan Brand they have the largest female roster in terms of athletes that they endorse.
They got one of my favorite athletes on there.
Oh yeah,
Sato Sabali.
Okay,
she played for the Dallas Wings. Your son, she can ball, bro. She was recruited, not recruited at 9, but she was discovered at 9 years old playing ball, and they was like, yo, shorty gonna be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, she's German raised. Her mom's is German. Her father's from Gambia. She's just a dope chick, man. And she said, yo, this is one of the first things my father gave me was a Michael Jordan tape when I was young. You know what I mean? And that just sounds like when we were growing up, when we had the air up there and, you know, all of son. I ain't gonna lie, Michael Jordan was not my favorite guy. I like Barkley, but I wore my shorts like Jordan. You know, I wanted to play like Mike. I came in front. And, you know, giving women a platform on something as big as Jordan, I think it's a great thing, man. They should have done it sooner. Yeah.
I wonder where's it coming from though now? Like, what's triggered Jordan Brand to realize that
they have any?
Tap into this.
Do they have I'm sure Jordan has employed tons of intelligent women.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have any athlete
I know what it is.
Tennis. They got a tennis athlete.
I don't know. I think all of their players primarily seem like to me to be basketball players.
Derek Jeter was on Jordan.
Yeah, he was a baseball player on Jordan. But most of the people is like
about as far as women. You talking about as far as women. You gotta figure too, fellas. I think to me, I might be wrong. I think that Jordan sees the praise, the accolades, the hype behind LeBron. He wants to beat LeBron to the punch as far as like imagine if LeBron incorporated a situation where he adopt female WNBA players. And not just WNBA, but also female basketball players from across seas to join his brand. So I think that being that, which I'm surprised LeBron never had ever since he came out with the inception of his own, his own shoe. I think Jordan beat LeBron.
LeBron don't own the shoe though. Nike owned LeBron's shoe. LeBron is an employee to Nike.
Right. But what I'm saying is that LeBron has signed 2 contracts, maybe 3 prior to getting that lifetime $1 billion Nike contract. So that right there kind of made Jordan mad. So at the same time, when you look at
made Jordan mad.
Made Jordan very mad. Even though Jordan get buku bucks for a lifetime from the Jordan brand or just from other Jordans that's still under the Nike multitude of percentage. I think that Jordan, by him doing that, was a very smart move because just like our brother Rob said, okay, you have tennis, you have golf, you have swimming. Those actual activities cost a lot more than basketball, whether you're trying to get your daughter or son into. So that's a higher grade, a higher pay grade as far as to get your kids into. So I think that if Jordan do incorporate it, like our brother Rob said, if he does branch out and get the female version of golf, tennis, swimming, track and field, everything besides basketball, that'll be good. But Jordan's, I guess, just starting off right now with the basis of basketball because basketball, of course, basketball has more games than the swimming competitions, more games than the tennis and all the other stuff. Like besides that, the other thing that Jordan could do that has a higher volume of games is also baseball or softball, like professional softball players. Okay,
nobody watching softball, Zane.
Huh?
Nobody watching no professional softball.
Nobody's watching it, but if Jordan puts his name behind it, people will. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta look at it. It's a higher volume of games being shown.
Nobody watching that. Nobody watching. No Major League Baseball ratings is in the toilet with professional players.
No. Major League Baseball,
Major League Baseball ratings down.
You got the main face of baseball is a Japanese dude.
Major League Baseball ratings
compared to Babe Ruth right now. The guy that plays for the Angels, Ashanti.
Shohei.
Yeah.
Their ratings are in the toilet. Like Jordan, the reason why Jordan went out and signed these basketball people is because when you think Jordan marketing, when you think Jordan, what do you think? Damn, you don't think about softball. You think about basketball.
Right. So it's thinking about excellence. You think of being at the top of your game. That's the reason why he had Jeter, because Jeter was at the top of his game every single.
I guarantee you, Jordan come out with softball and them other sports that I'm about to name. But Jordan using WNBA right now because you gotta look at the comparison of what the highest 5 or 10 paid NBA players make opposed to the highest paid 10 WNBA players.
Hold on. Let me just I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So let me ask you this. The nature of an endorsement deal is for a company to sell their products, right?
Right.
So people attach when they sign an athlete based on an athlete being able to sell a product, right?
Gravitation, right?
Name me one professional softball player, male or woman.
We talking about women. We're not talking about males. We talking about Jordan.
The reason why I said male or woman is
males don't play softball professionally, bro. Women play softball professionally, not males.
So forget males. Name me one professional softball player. It could be a male, it could be a woman, it could be an alien.
Bro, I just said there's no male professional softball player. There's only female.
So name anybody who professionally plays softball.
I don't know, but what I'm saying is that Jordan is about to do that.
Hold on. So let's backtrack and go back to what we just said to frame this discussion. That we said that the nature of an endorsement deal is because you sign an athlete because they bring visibility to your brand.
Right.
You look at the people in the NBA that's horrible. They wearing Nikes. They wearing other people's shoes. Not for no reason. If you just want to give an endorsement deal, shit, give me my own shoe. Whatever. It's about bringing notoriety to the brand. I use the example of even a male just to say to you or whatever, like, yo, there's no interest in high collar like softball. I don't even know if people gonna watch softball if the shit is in the Olympics. Don't nobody care about no softball. yo, unless you're a weekend warrior, you playing on Sunday in your corporate league. Yeah, Rob.
No, I was gonna say, ain't nobody gonna watch no damn softball. You're definitely not gonna look for the top player in softball so you can rock the newest Jordan.
Yo, he gonna be in a bidding war against himself.
I'm talking about sports that women dominate at a high rate. Basketball being one of them. It makes sense that he would have basketball players because he played basketball. But there are also tennis players that play at a high rate. There are other sports, but the sports with notoriety, soccer too,
volleyball.
But sports with the notoriety is caught on television so often. You'll be watching these players over and over and over again. I don't think we're gonna be watching no softball.
And softball.
The softball World Series.
Softball is played, but it's played by college teams the most.
And it's played in Crotona Park. He's not. There's no market for that. Like his market is the basketball players, the WNBA, tennis players, probably golf.
I bet y'all didn't know this though. I bet y'all didn't know this part.
Even swimming, even like gymnastic uniform, like things like that. But it has to be marketable people. Baseball itself as a sport, baseball right now, that's why they're trying to do things, and it's probably better discussed on the sports episode, but that's why they're doing things like changing the spin rate on the ball so people can't use lethal substances. They're doing anything to generate offense because their ratings don't reflect a successful sport. Their ratings are on the decline. The top
I bet you didn't know this though.
The top rated games aren't even performing well. Good.
Jordan catching a lot of flack because all of his Jordan brand females from WNBA are black. He catching a lot of flack from that.
I mean, I think that's something. You know what? I think that's something.
I think I saw some Europeans in there.
I mean, there's definitely an ethnic crew, but at the end of the day, like it's marketing and advertising, and marketing and advertising. People gonna sign the people that they think is actually going to help them generate revenue and that you can market.
For their game, you got to be at the top of your game.
So
tell me this, fellas. Do y'all think now this could be good too? Do you ever think there will be a mix of male and female in a basketball league? And if so, do you think that'd be beneficial or just leave it alone?
In a league or a game?
A league.
I don't think so. I'm not interested in that.
I mean, I'm just getting used to the big three, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm not used to. I still haven't gotten used to the big three, and I don't like novelty games. Like to me, even the All-Star game and stuff like that is like, it's just I'm not. Nah, I don't.
With the way, I give credit. I would like to see that because the way things going with rights and all that other stuff, you're gonna eventually have that, bro. I would say maybe 10 years from now, it's gonna be a mix. It's gonna be male and female basketball league, bro.
Call me when Jordan got softball players.
Jordan, number one draft pick. He
He gonna hire Pete Rose as one of the head coaches.
Yeah, but all jokes aside though, like the other part of this is that the market for it in terms of actual sneakers, like consumers, like as a person who appreciates sneakers, like one of the knocks I have on Jordan brand sneakers is like it's not like people are beating down the door to get Jordan brand, and we need to be let's be clear that Jordan brand is different from Nike. Jordan brand is a spin-off from Nike. Zion,
it's like the excess wash off or remainder.
No, he has a couple of athletes. He got Zion.
I hope they got a good design they create.
Carmelo Anthony never made a decent Jordan brand shoe.
He had one. I think he had one. He had one that was pretty decent.
I hope they have a decent enough designer to really make a decent Jordan lady shoe.
Well, here's the thing though, like, and this is why I think that this is what piqued my curiosity with this and why I say like he's on to something and the market is right now, because right now in the sneaker industry, they are releasing a lot of sneakers that are women's sneakers. They're supposedly designed for women, but males buy them, and they just buy them in a bigger size because they're like collector's item type shoes. Like maybe it's a different colorway than what
women got some dope colorways, son. They got some dope shit.
Yeah, so it's not some of it may just be the extent of the design may be like, I'm gonna create another Jordan 3, but I'm gonna make it in this color. This is gonna be such a signature shoe. Like that's a classic silhouette. I don't know if he could do that because he's Jordan brand and Nike may not license it or allow him to do it. But like stuff like that.
He can pay for one of those licenses. He can pay for the Jordan to be licensed.
Stuff like that makes sense because there are sneakers that come out every day that people wouldn't realize like that's really made to be a woman's colorway or a woman's sneaker that dudes buy. Like there's a market in that sense. But if he go out and start making, like I agree with you, Zane, some of them Carmelos was dead ugly. If he start making those,
like biscuits with shoelaces
for women, and then here's the other thing that I wonder too, like. We had Kixie Jixie on, and there are a lot of female sneakerheads, but a lot of the female sneakerheads wear a lot of like the men colorways, and they they dibble and dabble in the how you call it the female colorways. I don't know how many casual female sneaker people are there that's gonna go out there and be like, oh, I see he signed Candace Parker or whatever. I want to get the Candace Parker 2s.
Nah, I think what Jordan Jordan sees the wave. He see how the LBGTQ whatever community is rising, and whatever is the flux of the group or nest egg of the female basketball players that come out and claim that and be proud of it. Those are going to be the ones that's selling more than all the other ones combined of the ones that he had right now, because you got to look at the climate.
So Z, what we doing tonight, man? Because we
I'm being for real. I'm being for real.
You went to
I'm being for real. No, not to speak down of it. I'm just saying
so
like
you think we sign these people based on them potentially identifying as LGBT and thinking that this could be a way for him to sell some shoes because of their sexuality?
No, I'm saying that I think that's going to be a gateway because you have a lot of the people in the LGBT community and stuff like that are in the WNBA. And that the force is strong as far as the people that support that. No.
The force is strong.
No, you're making it sound like I'm talking about like some like Star Wars type with the Jedi's. No,
he said the force is strong.
Yoda in the background. No. I'm saying like, hey, whatever somebody does, that's whatever floats their boat, whatever. I'm just saying as far as marketability, I'm thinking that like.
I don't think Jordan's gonna go that way. I don't think he's even thinking.
But here's the thing.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Here's the thing.
It's gonna happen.
So here's the thing. So excuse me. So you think that there's gonna be Air LGBT sneaker? Like why would an LGBT?
It might not be called Air. It's not be called Air LGBT. It's gonna happen.
Air Rainbow.
But yo, so here's my thing or whatever. Like, I guess I'm just trying to think. Like, so why wouldn't a person who identified as LGBT just wear a different pair of sneakers? Why do they need like? What's the correlation that they're gonna be like, yo, because a gay basketball player owns those, I'm gonna go buy those? That's
what's
the
gonna happen, bro. Mark my word. That's what's gonna happen.
And they're gonna be playing softball, son. They're gonna be in a softball league too. Son.
Yo, Zane, just so you know,
I kind of did go too far with the softball league, but I believe that the basketball shoes I'm talking about for the WNBA, I think that's gonna happen. Yo.
Just so you know, the only sport probably getting lower ratings than the WNBA is the softball, professional softball. Yo, I can't.
He hot, son. He hot.
Yo, I can't. Yo, this dude said Jordan. Yo, you a wild dude, Z. Yo, he sucks.
You're a 1 in a million, bro.
Michael Jordan, I hope you never see this. I appreciate you signing these lovely ladies because you think they have talent.
Yeah, it gives them. They all got a platform. All these ladies got a specific platform that most of them are already bringing to the table. Is giving them a voice to speak about social issues, women issues. I mean, there are a lot of things that women, the community of women are going through, and you just have, you have these women that some are international. Like I said, Satay Sabali, she's from Germany. She's an international player, and I'm sure she has a following. She's pretty nice, man. Mm-hmm. So it gives these
now, real quick, you got back to the basis of what I said earlier when I talked about this. Do y'all think LeBron gonna adopt the same thing, or he gonna leave it alone?
I don't think LeBron. I think LeBron's business interests lie otherwise. I think LeBron wants to own a team. I think he'll eventually own a team. I think LeBron does want to do stuff in film. Like he has production company. Right. I think he wants to be in. I think he wants to also be in.
He's about to sell Spring Hill.
I think he also wants to be in player management. So I think there's a number of different things that irons in the fire. But as far as like a sneaker company, I don't know if LeBron has. I don't get a sense from LeBron that he has an interest per se in a sneaker company, but LeBron is talented, and LeBron has proven to be his business acumen. Him and Maverick Carter, like to me, their business acumen is unmatched right now. Like they laying the blueprint for what future basketball players should do. But I don't know if the sneaker industry, is where he would want to be. Like to me, there's a lot of competition in sneaker, and if you look at even like Michael Jordan's success, he has success with Jordans and Nike and whatever deal he has with them. But if you were to probably look at what's going on with Jordan Brand, I don't know if Jordan Brand per se is successful. Like if he's doing from a sneaker standpoint, like let's not.
He got his apparel.
That's why I would say like there are other things going on with Jordan Brand too.
My last question for both of you for the Jordan situation. I already know the answer. Did Jordan make more money? No. Because I want your opinion on it.
Okay.
Did Jordan make more money with Nike or with Jordan Brand?
With Nike.
Do I think he made more money with Jordan Brand? I think Jordan Brand.
He made more money with Nike.
I think Jordan Brand was something that Nike gave Michael Jordan, or that Michael Jordan thought of when he seen how much money Nike was probably making off the shoes. Now the issue
but I'm saying, do you think he made more money overall as of today, right now at 9:42 Eastern Standard Time? Did he make more money with Nike or with Jordan Brand?
Well, can I answer it? Or wait, well, hold on, wait a minute. Are we playing softball now? Softball.
You went around it, bro. You were like around the conversation.
Okay, so let me answer it. So what I was saying, and I'm gonna try to get there fast for you. I don't want to be slow like softball. So what I think happened was that Jordan seen how much Nike was actually making off of Jordan sneakers, and as a result, he created Jordan Brand as a spinoff to Nike. The issue that Michael Jordan has is that all of the shoes that people want are actually products of Nike. So to answer Zane's question, Jordan has made more money probably off of Nike than he has off of Jordan. Now here's where it gets a little bit more tricky. Just stick with me for 2 more minutes. I promise I'll get there. With Jordan going on with Jordan Brand, he probably has, I'm guessing, I don't know if he has partners, but he has far more ownership in it. So when he does, when Jordan Brand does pick up and resonate with people, and hopefully it's with these young ladies,
right?
Then Jordan will have far more ownership and have the potential to make more money. It's different. That's what people don't. It's different having ownership than licensing. Like that's one of the things with the former president Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump's name was on buildings because he licensed his name. Wasn't only solely because he had ownership of buildings. Michael Jordan's name is licensed probably to the Nike Jordan sneakers, and he probably has some deal worked out. Jordan Brand is his. So the sneakers that's popping in a nutshell through Nike are the ones that he's probably making more money with.
That's right.
But you know what the most lucrative deal he about to put together? His softball deal where he goes on the softball players.
Get your Jordan bats. Get your Jordan aluminum bats right now.
Yo, I'm like, now I gotta look up and see, like, I don't know one softball player. And that's a shame because I used to love playing softball. But I can't think of one professional softball player in the history of softball. In the history of softball, like not just immediately, just ever. Like I don't know one softball player. If Michael Jordan comes out with a softball line, Jordan Brand deserved to fail. Yo, he deserved to fail. His marketing.
The Jordan catches mask. Jordan gloves.
But one thing though, women's softball is big in college. Softball is big in college, so maybe there's a uniform or something like that. But my thing is like, all right, so who are those people? What are their names?
Yeah, I don't know Becky and them.
Who are those people? What are they?
Hey, that's a good thing you brought up too, because now you see how the NCAA have it to where the college students are making money off of their name.
Your likeness.
That's the main reason why I said I think Jordan might consider doing that, as far as that and other sports, just to generate more capital.
I feel like I'm gonna write a letter to him and be like, "Yo, Michael Jordan, this is what I need you to do.
Don't do it.
Sign, I need you to sign somebody to an endorsement deal for miniature golf, ping pong.
No, see, I ain't say all that.
Hold on. Pool, badminton, checkers, anything
chess.
Except for softball. Sign those people before you sign the softball players. And truth be told, that market
badminton.
Rawlings, what's the other Munzo and
Russell Athletic?
Yeah, probably already got all that on lock. Yeah. The people with the poor marketing directors probably so.
Rydell.
Yeah, Rydell.
Oh man, so this has been an interesting episode, man.
It has, man.
This has been.
This might go down as a classic right here.
Oh man, So with that being said, if we are fortunate enough to get through the YouTube algorithm and not get flagged for this week, we will see you.
I don't think we will. No, we didn't say nothing like derogatory.
Next week on the next episode. By the way, Rob, that's a dope shirt, man.
Thank you, bro.
That's a dope
Black
shirt.
Father. The joint is nice. Yo, that hat you had last episode was nice too. The fresh hat.
Oh that's from a clothing company. Shout out to Johnny Fresco from Dead Fresh crew. He just put out his own sneakers too.
Nice.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we'll holler at y'all next week. Peace, everybody.
Hey.